Woke up this morning, coffee in hand, flipped on the screen, my favorite man. Crafty's on the TV, chipping that stone with obsidian and flint, he's in the zone. He's shaping the future with a hit and a crack, building the legends, ain't no turning back. With every sharp edge, he's teaching the way of the ancients who thrived back in the day. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. Underneath those layers of dust and grit, finds the magic every little bit. A sculptor of stories, buried in the ground, each piece he uncovers wisdom abound. With every collision, the sparks start to fly. As the old world awakens, we question why. He's digging deeper where the shadows play, reviving old crafts that could fade away. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. And in this life, we're all just searching for our place in the world, a way to keep working. With the flick of his wrist, he brings forth the light. In every gray morning, he makes it feel right. So gather around, let the stories unfold. Crafty's our guide through the young and the old. With the sun rising high and the day moving on, Crafty carves dreams till the light is all gone. He's shaping the future one chip at a time. With every creation, he's keeping the rhyme. From the heartland of Texas to the mountains of green, the legacy lives on through the stonework unseen. With every perspective, he's showing the way. Crafty keeps going, come whatever may. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. So here's to the mornings with coffee in hand and Crafty on the screen, the true heart of the land. With a hit and a crack, he's paving the way through stone and through story. He inspires the day.
Hello, hello. Okay, I'm looking for challenge rocks. Today is Thursday. It's a rock challenge night. Tuesdays and Thursdays are rock challenge nights. So what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Who do we have in the chat? So Jorge Valadez is the first one. Awesome. Mr. Jim is here, Bobby Estes, Alan Cole, Stoneface, Tom Brown. Let's see. Outdoors. No, TH Outdoors. Graylin Landry. Alan Young. Jesse Yaki Napper is here. TJ and Soul, all the way from Australia. Marty Wybe, Marty's here. Mike Mason. Flakesguard, Tommy Taylor. Who else? My Flintknapping Journey. Let's see, Alan says he's trying to get an early start on this weekend. Yeah. It's Thursday. I can just go and work on anything that's challenging tonight. Tomorrow night, I'm not looking forward to it because I'm not ready. I I've got to make some more tools. I've got my Axis deer tools, but I need to make some more. I want to make some composite tools. If I can get those whipped up and get them ready, then I'll be excited for tomorrow night. I got to work on my composite tools tomorrow for the natural tool night. Good luck tonight, brother, says Aaron. Thank you, thank you. Jeff Jin is here. Hey. Haven't seen you in a while in the chat. Mike Mason is here. Hey, Danny N. Doghouse is here. He says, hello, Lithic brothers. Oh, yes. We are all brothers in the Lithics. Mr. Jim is here. I was on the Pedernales today. Saw some of your stuff. I see. Talking to Jesse. Who else is here? If I miss calling you out, I apologize. Or shouting you out. Mac Bales is here. Hello, hello. Howdy, howdy. Tommy Taylor's here. Bob Yesties, yeah. I think I already shouted out everybody. Dockenstein is here. Who is lurking? Anybody lurking? Don't forget to double click the like button. Bobby SD Super Chat, $1.99. Thank you, thank you. I clicked my own live stream also. Yeah. I am not ashamed to like my own live stream. Jace Williams, yo. All right, so are we going to get started? Are we going to chit-chat a little bit? Let me break up some more of this Big Fork chert from Arkansas. Yeah, I'm going to break a little bit more of this up because I can get, my friend Stacy is able to get a lot of this stuff. So if it's any good, we will continue to gather it. But I think it's pretty cracked. It's freeze cracked and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I might be able to make an arrowhead from something I broke up last night. Yeah, this is all cracked, so this might not be good. But I've got some other good pieces that look fairly good, like this one here. I might be able to make an arrowhead out of that one. Now, this is very tough stuff, this Big Fork chert. Very tough. There are some pieces that are not that tough. And if I start with a thin piece, I suppose I can get a better result. I suppose. No guarantees. Okay, everything is, I suppose so, I suppose so. We got some Fort Payne in this challenge box also. But that's not a challenge. Yeah. I could cheat and say, I'm going to do a challenge with Fort Payne, but that's sneaky. Yeah, it's not that challenging. This here, I don't know what this looks like on the inside. This is a piece of quarry Georgetown. It might have damage in it as far as internal stresses. So I'm gonna break into this and see how that goes. Let's see what this looks like. This Pitkin, Pitkin chert. I think I have napped some of this before. 14-ounce bopper. Wait a second. I see a big old super chat. Hold on. We got Mr. Moneybags. Jesse. $50 super chat. Down payment. Gas gun. Next nap in. Wow. Thank you. That's awesome, Jesse. Thanks. Is that a typo, the gas gun? Or just the gas? Yeah, the gas is expensive these days. Thank you. Gas fund. Yeah. I thought that was a typo. But yeah, awesome. Thank you. Wow. Let me see. Who do we got? Let me put my glasses on. We got some new guys? KRYT5. New subscriber here. I love the San Patrice points you've made. They are local to my area. I found several. Would love to see more of those made. San Patrice? Okay. Yeah. Let's see if we can make one. Let's see if we can. I'm going to try making one tonight. Let's see. Okay, Alan Cole says, Red-Eyed Patriot, or Michael, received a gift box and uploaded a video. Don't miss it after the stream. Alrighty. Sam says, God bless y'all. Fun started. Thanks for the work. Yes, yes. Basalt. No, the big fork chert is not basalt, I don't think. I mean, it looks like it, but I don't know. You know what? I don't know. Mike Mason says, I was going to lurk, but this community is too awesome. Yeah, that's true. Marty says he just uploaded the unboxing videos or video. Thanks for the awesome slabs. I guess he got some slabs from Dockenstein or Doc. All right, so let's see. I'm going to break into the Pitkin with the 14-ounce solid copper bopper and not lead-filled. Does it make a difference? Only if you think so. What is this? Oh, it has a heavy oil smell. Wow. Yeah. That's the most oily chert I've ever smelled. This Pitkin stuff. Holy moly, that's heavy duties. Yes, yes. Is that bad? No, it's not bad. But this is the strongest oily smelling chert I've ever encountered. Yeah. It looks pretty good. I can make a San Patrice out of this. Yeah. We'll come back to this. This looks like it'll nap nicely. Oh yes. I don't see major issues. It looks like it's solid. So we'll come back to this. Yeah. All right. So we got some Pitkin and some big fork. Right. I got to make sure I got to make sure I label some of these flakes because they look a lot like Fort Payne, this Pitkin stuff. All right. Right. I don't know. I won't be able to make an arrowhead out of that one. Too much cortex. I don't know. These are kind of small, so I'm just going to label them and throw them in the save for later Pitkin, so I don't forget what this is, or I don't misidentify it later. Okay, that goes in the recycle. I'm gonna pick through that later. I throw all my debitage in a bucket, and then I go through it later and pick out the stuff I want to keep. Okay, that's where I'm throwing all this stuff. I'm throwing it into a recycle bucket for my debitage. Might as well throw this in the debitage bucket too. But label it. I've got to label it. So it takes time. Because inquiring minds want to know what these materials are. I usually don't spend too much time keeping track of what these materials are, but I keep getting requests after request after request. Yeah. I don't get tired of saying no, but I do get tired of not knowing. Yeah. I don't know. I get tired of saying I don't know. Okay, so we're going to break into this Georgetown quarry chunk. And yes, there is a difference between a chunk that is not from a quarry and a chunk that is from a quarry. Okay? The quarry chunks a lot of times have stresses induced in them, which causes internal cracks because of the machinery that digs these up. Machinery, yeah. This is from Texas, okay? And there's machinery that gathers this up from the ground because what we do in Texas is we use the chalk for masonry or construction material on the faces of buildings. Yeah. This looks pretty solid. So let's try to do a blade. How's that? Yes. And we're going to take off some spalls. There's different grades of Georgetown. It's not all fantastically great and tremendously good. This one's got a crystal pocket in there. So this is a lower grade Georgetown. If it's got pockets that big, that automatically brings it down a notch as far as grade. It's not high grade stuff. It's, well, we'll see. If that's the only one that I can see, then it'll be high grade stuff. As long as it doesn't have internal stresses and weird cracks in here. It looks pretty good so far. How do I get big spalls off of something like this? Just incidentally, probably, because I'm not really trying for really big spalls. It's kind of flat already, so I'm a little bit limited in the spalling department. Don't have much material to work with. Although it's a lot of material for a blade, yes, but for spalls, not really. I mean, arrowhead spalls, yes, but spalls for big little dart points or blades, 8 inches only. So if I get a big, 6-inch spall off of this, I'll be lucky. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. So I'm just going to try to thin it down. And if I get some big flakes, I'll get big flakes. If not, then I don't. Yeah. Let's see if we can zigzag our way into getting some spalls. Yes. Ooh, that's got some issues. It might require tissues, but I don't think so. Can you see? This is too big to show on video. I might be able to get some big ones through here. Yeah. And I'm not going to follow the ridges. I'm going to hit right here. There's no ridge there. Why am I going to do that, Tom? No, don't do it, dude. Don't do it. I'm going to do it. Because I want to show you. I don't need a ridge to get this. And I'm going to make a short video. People don't know. You don't need to go on the ridge. No. See? No ridges. I didn't follow a ridge, did I? I did not. Why do I even nap that way? People don't like it. Yeah, I know. I just go where I think I can get a big spall, right? It doesn't matter too much. And I follow a ridge, and what do I get? I get a broken flake. See, there's kind of a ridge there, but I got a broken flake that time. So you never know. See, I followed that ridge, but it's okay. This flake's fine. This flake's fine. Can't expect a big flake every time. How about that one? How about that? That's okay. Yeah. We're getting there little by little. Yep. You see, you get one? Well, we cracked that one with a radial crack. This is what I call a radial crack, or what is called a radial crack. It cracked in the other direction. So usually it scoops it out. That's a scooping fracture, but sometimes you get radial fractures going the other way. That's what will split your pieces in half when you're working on bifaces. All right? Snap in half-ish type stuff. Gotta watch out for them radial cracks. How do you prevent radial cracks? I wish I knew. Again, I did not follow a ridge on this one. See, I just hit the previous flake scar. It scooped out, but I did not follow a ridge. There's no ridge. You know, I'm shooting in this direction. Yeah, there's a ridge going this way, but I'm not going to shoot just that. I shot into the mass of the piece this way, and I got myself a flake. So the only reason why I'm doing this, I'm pointing this out, is because the internet says you must follow ridges. Yeah, and it keeps reminding me of that commercial, ruffles have ridges. But you don't have to. And the freedom to not follow ridges can help you in your flint knapping. Okay? You need flexibility in some cases to get the job done. And if you're constrained by what you hear on the internet, you may be held back. How do I know? I don't know. I figure people know this, just by watching. They'll notice that, you don't always have to follow ridges. There are many ways to make flakes with every tool, so you cannot tell what tool made what flake. You can say that certain tools do make certain flakes, but those flakes are probably made by some other tool as well. So you don't know exactly which tool made these flakes. You don't know how much experience a napper has. Good nappers can make bad flakes, and bad nappers can make good flakes. You cannot tell the skill level of the napper by the flakes. All this stuff that the internet will tell you that you can figure out, you cannot figure out. You can pretend you can, but that's all you're doing is pretending. Okay? All right. There are many such instances where it sounds like it's the truth, but it isn't. All right. So this actually looks like a good piece with not many internal stresses, if any, even though it's a quarry stone. Yeah, we got rid of all the square edges. Now I can tell this is not the top grade of Georgetown because it has some inconsistencies. Some of this stuff naps sweetly, and some of it is, I can tell already, it's going to be a different consistency. But for the most part, it's pretty good. Yeah, and it's also got these weird pockets of stuff once in a while. Okay, all right. If we're on the subject of being able to figure out if a skilled napper made something or not, yeah, if it's a difficult to make thing like parallel flaking, you can say that it's a lot of skill. It requires a lot of skill. Yeah, and you'd be right. But was that parallel flake item made from someone being tutored to make it? Someone that's not highly skilled, but being taught or tutored or guided by someone who is. Like, an older napper that can't nap anymore. He's missing a hand or something. Telling a younger guy how to nap. And the younger guy is not as good as the older guy, right? But he's producing really nice parallel flaking with guidance. Does that mean that the guy that makes the parallel flaking in that case is highly skilled? No, it does not. But it's a very difficult thing to do, right? How many points back in their day were made by people that were guided as they napped? Was it a common thing? These days, a lot of nappers are lone nappers. But back in the day, everyone kind of worked together. So in many cases, napping was not a one-man show. It could be that there's several guys. Maybe several guys are being tutored by one guy. Maybe in some cases, maybe there was lone rangers, The only one from miles around that can knap. And he doesn't tutor anybody. He just makes everything himself. That is possible. But how often do you think that happens? Or happened? Nobody knows. Anyways, there's been lots of discussions online about that sort of thing. And yes, I've seen many, many discussions over the years. Participated in many, many heated discussions as well. Yeah, people get all bent out of shape during those how did they make it discussions. Anyways. Having a heated discussion doesn't make the truth come out. No. It just makes the discussions heated, that's all. Why doesn't the truth come out? Because it can't be known. You don't know. Nobody knows, and nobody will be able to know, in many cases, how these things were made. Except just basic knowledge on how they were made. Yeah, they were made with natural tools. The copper was very rare, if ever used. That is true, but you can't rule it out, as an example. You can go by you know, what are the odds? What is the likelihood? Yeah, that makes sense. But to know for sure, nope. Nope. And the way I knap may not be the way other people knap. I let my subconscious do a lot of the work. I try not to pay too much attention to this process until it gets really, really thin. Then I have to focus intently to make sure that my accuracy is the best possible. I can make sure that my accuracy is the best possible through every stage of this process. If I don't have to worry about wearing myself out, I will intensely study every phase and try to be as accurate as possible with every strike. If I can put this aside at any time. If I'm not on video, I can put this aside at any time, and I can be very, very conscious and pay attention to every little persnickety thing, and then put it aside when I get exhausted, when I'm napping by myself. Yeah. So yeah, I have napped that way. But it's aggravating to do the whole process from rock to point in that way. So if I'm doing a rock to point on video, I'll just kind of be haphazard in the beginning and only focus at the very end. Or only intently focus at the very end. Okay. Ooh, that's partial. There is a partial flake there. I got to hit it in the exact same spot to make it go. Yeah. Whoops. That one split the whole thing. Now, the question is, was there already a natural seam in it? Or a natural stress? Because it wasn't supposed to do that. See, it had a crack going this way already into this piece. But instead of going into the piece, it exited out the other side. So there might have been a weakness on the other side. Maybe. See, watch. It was supposed to crack this way, but there may have been an internal stress. Or some type of internal flaw, because it broke in a weird way. Yes, it did. Okay, so easy peasy to make pieces out of these two. Let's see. And if you get a piece of this Corey Georgetown and it breaks in half like this, don't beat yourself up over it. It happens a lot. Yep. It happens a lot. I don't know for sure. See, there's a crack here. So there is internal crack issues. I don't know for sure if the one that broke this was an internal crack issue or not. Well, I do know that it broke in a weird way. So the likelihood of it being an internal crack or some internal stress that causes it to fracture in a strange way, the likelihood is very high with this type of Georgetown. And how do I know it's that type of Georgetown? Because I got it as a gift, as a challenge from a friend of mine. He says, "You want this?" I said, "Sure." He says, "We got it at the quarry or whatever." That's fine. I'll try it. All right. Sounds good. I shall try it. Most of it looks pretty good. It's a little crunchy in this spot. Down here. Yeah, I can make something out of that. So, okay, let's clean up a little bit. We got 4 pieces here. We're going to make something tonight. Okay. So, let's see. Make something, maybe more than one thing. And I will save these too. I will save these for later. But for now, let me put these in a place, safe place. Right. Get the big flakes in a separate area, and then the small flakes go in the debitage bucket. What are these sizes? Let's see, this one is like 3.5 at the most. But it probably only yields a 3-inch point. That's like some of the biggest one. This one is not too bad. This one's kind of big, but you don't know on this side how it is. But this one is 4 inches, yeah. So 3 to 4 inches on some of these bigger spalls. And there's a lot of smaller ones. They can be made into points for arrows. The rest of this is crud flakes. Okay. Pardon me while I'm probably going to clear my throat a bunch tonight. I'm figuring it's the pollen that's getting my allergies all worked up. Giving me lots of phlegm. I'm thinking that's what it is. Where's the bucket? What am I going to do? I need something to put these flakes in. Well, I don't need to. I was thinking I need to put these somewhere because I'm going to be knapping some glass, and I don't want to mix the glass and the rocks together because they don't let me dump the rocks. At the recycle center, they got glass mixed in with them, but I'm not going to knap glass tonight or tomorrow, so let's just put these over here. Hold on. It's a live stream, so you're going to see everything that happens off camera usually. If there's editing, you're not going to see any of this, but it's a live stream, so don't get all upset. It's your fault if you want to turn into a live stream. It's a live video. It's real. Don't complain about it being real if you don't want to. I mean, if you're tuned into something that's real, don't complain that it's too real. I don't want to see the debitage. Okay. Right. I'm going to check the chat and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to nap here. Or we'll just nap all of it. How's that? We're only going to make 1 point. Finish only one tonight. Let's see. But I'll probably break all these down into bifaces. Okay. What do we got? Explore Nation X. Yeah, cuts and bruises, but I can do it. Let's see. And Danny says, high wind and oak pollen is very high. I feel it too. Glad I got plenty of beer. Yay. Midbar. I made tons of gravel too. Explorer. Let's see. Something happened in Brady? Explore Nation X says, they understand artifacts, but not the process of making them, so I break a point, and I can never make a good point. I see. Flakescar, did you see the Holiday Inn in Brady was struck by lightning this afternoon? Big fire and burned to the ground. It sounded like everybody got out okay. No, I did not see that. Struck by lightning. Let's see. Explorer says, I was told I'd never be able to make good points by people who are interested in actual artifacts because I made mistakes and broke a lot of material, but I kept going and now I'm okay at it. See, there you go. Stoneface gonna reboot. What do we got in here? Any questions in here? What do we got? Royal Crafting, the Nap Easy did that to me on the second point. There are no 3 dots anymore. The whole thing is different. What are we talking about? AZ Shaman, 100%. Jesse, okay. I'm just going to read the comments. And if I see a question, I'll try to answer. I'll read the question and try to answer. Jesse says, I could never understand the positioning and angle for indirect until I found Pat's channel. It helped me a lot. Before, I solely used direct percussion and made nice stuff, but nothing thin. I see. So Explore Nation X is a copycat napper. That's okay. Let's see. Stoneface says, Alan, I can't access the chat format in the vertical format. I did last night, but not now. Yeah. That's technology for you. AZ Shaman likes these live streams. Thank you. Thank you. If you click the 3 dots, there's a bunch of new options called participants. Let me see. I'm going to click the 3 dots. Description, channel, like, dislike, report, quality, live chat, chat filter, don't recommend this channel, helping feedback. That seems like the same stuff on the 3 dots. Where's all the new stuff? Yeah, mine's still the same. Georgetown is gray matter, says N Doghouse. Some got it and some don't. Yes, how true is that? That is very true. Let me see. Who's getting $8 a pound for this stuff? Are you talking about getting $8 a pound for Georgetown? It better not be from Macquarie because that stuff is not reliable. It has to be tested ahead of time. Let me see here. Royal Crafting says, I was a little disappointed with the Nap Easy material. The color was pukey compared to the photo online, and it has weird texture and it was kind of step fractury with issues. Interesting. I have napped some Nap Easy on this channel. You can type it in, Jack Crafty, Nap Easy, and it'll come up with at least a couple videos. In case you don't want to buy it and then test it yourself, you can watch to see how I did with it. Stoneface says, Pat, I just finished building a 28-ounce solid copper spalling bopper. I'll post it on the community. Awesome. Rock puppet. Yeah, I like making rock puppets, or I like to make the rocks talk. Let me see. Rawzilla says, where can I get cheap tools to chip stuff? From the garbage. Go dumpster diving. That's where you get cheap tools. And I'm not even kidding. How do I order a piece that big at Georgetown? Right? Yeah. Don't order sight unseen. Go to a Knapping. The only place you should be buying big stuff is at Knappings. I'm sorry. Yeah, you'll have to pay for some gas to get to the Knappings. But there's a bunch of Knappings. This is summertime. There's at least 5 Knappings every month during the summer. There's got to be one that you can drive to. It'll be well worth it if you can buy the rock and look to see what you're buying. Don't buy it sight unseen, because there's a lot of people who don't actually know what they're doing when they're selling their rocks. And you'll get not only bad rocks sometimes, but they won't know how to pack the rocks in the boxes, and you may not get your rocks either in the proper amount, because some of it might have left the box, or in the correct shape, meaning it's not chipped all to shreds. Okay? You have to be dealing with someone that knows how to pack the rocks properly if you mail order the rocks. If you go to a Knapping, they're sitting there right in front of you, and you can buy them sight seen, not sight unseen. Okay? If you're buying sight unseen and depending on the seller to pack the rocks properly, you're going to run into problems. Just letting you know. Lance McKilwain says, what up, Crafty? I made a new antler indirect stick today. My old one wore out. Now I can't get used to the new one. It does not do nearly as well as my old one. Yes, that's one of the problems with natural tools. And I've had problems with my hammerstones that way, especially. The antlers, not so much, because they're pretty much the same for me. But the hammerstones, sometimes I'll get a sweet hammerstone and it'll break. And trying to replace a sweet hammerstone is almost impossible. Yeah. Because they vary in consistency. Sometimes you get ones that are just right. Luckily, I have not broken my sweet hammerstones that I have now, but they're getting worn down, so they change in weight. Over time, your hammerstones will change in weight. They will become less and less sweet, just because they start to wear down. Central Texas Outfitters is here. Lee Steinmeier's here. Wow. Central Texas Outfitters. Can you explain what it is? The black stick. This is an ultra-high molecular weight plastic. UHMW plastic. Ultra-high molecular weight plastic. If you buy it on eBay, it's called UHMW plastic rod, black. 1 1/4 inch diameter. That's what this is. This weighs a total of 6 ounces, I believe, and it's 9 inches long. That's what I use, but I'm doing small stuff. If you're doing big stuff, like 90% of nappers like to do, you'll have to scale up. 1.5 inch diameter, probably 12 inches long, and probably 9 ounces minimum for these mallets. But it's the same stuff. Get the ultra high molecular weight plastic. because if you use wood or something that absorbs too much energy, it will not work right. Yes, you can use antler instead of plastic. Antler works well. You can also use steel black pipe. You can also use a bopper as a billet, or as a mallet, I mean. You can hit your indirect percussion stick or whatever with a bopper or a billet or a specially dedicated mallet. Be creative, yes, but do not use wood. If you've seen people use wood effectively, but they are the exception to the rule. Okay? Which is perfectly fine. I just don't recommend using wood. Okay? And that recommendation has helped a lot of people. They go, well, thanks. I was kind of struggling with the wood until you said something, and then I changed it, and man, it made a difference. You know, I've got that a lot more often than, dude, I was using the high molecular weight plastic, and I got a piece of wood, and now I'm in heaven with that piece of wood. I actually, I have never gotten that one, but I suppose that happens. All right. Yeah, there's UHMW that's white or black. Let's see. Let's see. I have this. Danny says color doesn't matter, whereas UHMW, which is softer and more flexible, and Delrin is acetyl resin, much stiffer and way better in my opinion. I have the opposite effect. Delrin for me is more flexible than this ultra high molecular weight plastic. If you get a very flexible UHMW, they probably mislabeled it. The seller probably mislabeled it and it is selling you Delrin. Delrin is more flexible than UHMW. Okay? If you're getting a really flexible material that looks like this, it's Delrin. Because I've had the opposite experience. Okay? I've bought Delrin and I've made tools from Delrin. These, I don't know what these are made from. This feels like UHMW, but it might be Delrin. But you don't know until you get a long piece and try to bend it. Okay? Delrin, for me, is very flexible compared to the UHMW. That's just my experience. Let me see here. Okay, so I'm going to get back into knapping. All right. Yeah, I think it took a long time to try to explain what this UHMW plastic is. So I'm going to try this clear fork, or what is it called again? Big fork. I keep getting it mixed up with clear fork. I don't know, where does clear fork? Is that like a city or something? I don't know. Anyway, this is something fork. Big fork. Oh, I'm not even going to try to remember. Okay? This is just Arkansas stuff. It reminds me a lot of Onondaga chert. Something fork chert. I think it's big fork. If it's not clear fork, it must be big fork. Come on. I'm hitting this very, very hard. This is not going to work. I need to find a better piece of big fork. Yep. It's wearing out my copper. It's not doing it. Here we go. So yeah, this is very hard stuff. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is about a 3 for knapping. Very low. Okay. So I don't recommend it for new guys. Even though there may be literally millions of tons of it available. It usually happens that the stuff that's not easy to knap is available in millions of tons. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the way it goes. Yeah, this is going to require a different set of tools because this is taking its toll. I'm bending this a lot. Bending the indirect percussion stick on this big fork chert. On this particular piece, it probably is not all like this. I'm not gonna spend time knapping it on this piece. If I had a better piece, I probably would spend more time. Let's just see if I can knock off this turtleback. I can try a bopper. Swing that bopper super fast. Let's see. Oh, that just smashed the edge. Yeah. Let me try one more time. One more time with the bopper. Let's see if I can get a big flake. Yeah, but it takes too much. Sacrifice too much of the edge, but yeah, it can work. It's just you sacrifice a lot. All right, so we'll put this aside. That's too much of a challenge for tonight. That particular piece. Let's do let's do this. Let's whittle this down to a biface. Pitkin chert. Smells a lot like oil. Very oily smelling. Which is not a bad thing. Okay. But yeah. It's probably one way to identify it. Yeah, so much more cooperative. I tell you. Amazing the difference in how this stuff cooperates. Ready? Yeah, beauty. I think that we can start cooking with gas with this stuff. Ready? Ready. Yes? Yes. No? Got to be a little more genteel. Yeah. I have to be a little more genteel with this stuff. It does crush, and I've got to grind the edges more. If it's kind of crushy. If it crushes when I want to take the flakes that are large, I got to grind it more. Same angles, same everything, same force, same angles. Just got to grind it more. If it starts to crush. If you only change the angles if the flakes are not going far enough or in the right direction. So you can change this angle and you can change this angle. There are two angles, two planes of angles. This one and this one. And you don't know which one we're talking about when we say change the angles. Do you? And you don't know which one you're asking for either. I don't know what you're asking for when you say, okay, what's the angle? Well, are you talking about this angle or this angle? And you might say, yeah, the answer is yes. Don't be stupid. I'm talking about all the angles. Whatever is the angle, that's what I'm talking about. Stupid. Well, you got to be a little more specific. A little more specific. Yeah. Or I can't help you. Or I could help you, but I don't want to if you're not going to be more specific. Okay? All right. You got to at least know that. Are we talking about this or this? So what am I doing here? I'm just trying to make a little biface. Okay, this is first stage of the rock to point. You got to get rid of the outside and all these uncooperative edges. If it's got cortex, it's not that cooperative. You can probably leave some of it on, but that's for advanced nappers. Sometimes you can leave some of that on the bottom, like they did on some of the artifacts, as an example. But we're not doing any of that fancy stuff. Sometimes you can leave some of this on the surface, like they did on some of the artifacts. They don't skin it all off, in some cases. But I skin it all off because it makes it more consistent. And the more consistent it is, the more you can judge your mistakes. Was it you that made the mistake, or was it the stone that's not cooperative? If the stone is consistent and you make a mistake, or what looks like a mistake, it's probably you and not the stone. But if you don't know if it's you or the stone, you don't learn. Well, not reliably. You can guess correctly, I suppose. But then you're guessing a lot. And you're going to start doubting yourself. Was that did I get that correct by guessing? Or did I really know? If I have to guess too much, am I really teaching myself, or am I just going by luck? You'd rather, in my opinion, you'd rather advance by, following what's most likely. If the stone is consistent and there's mistakes, most likely you are the problem. If the stone is nice, or you're using a man-made glass and there's lots of mistakes happening, then it's probably you. Right? If the stone is all wonky and nasty and it's got cracks and it's hard to nap, it probably is the stone if you're having problems. Okay? All right. Most likely. Probably. The entire skill of flint napping is probabilistic. Anyways, you can't be sure of anything, but you can narrow it down to likely or not likely. Okay. So what's after this? Well, to me, that's the easy part. Now comes the hard part of getting it thinner. Okay. People don't like that when I say that. Well, actually, I don't get too many complaints. I get complaints about other stuff. But they know better to... They don't watch my channel. After I say that I don't like overshots, they change the channel. If they like overshots and they hear me say that I don't like them, they change the channel. So they don't say nothing. They just change the channel. They go, I'm not even going to deal with that fool. He doesn't even deserve one of my comments. Yeah, I'm not going to waste the energy to commenting on that fool's channel. Doesn't like overshots. What's his problem? My problem is with overshots. Yeah. That's my problem. They're stupid. The overshots are stupid. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Next stage. Indirect percussion to the rescue. See if we can start cooking with some gas. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see cooperation in my future with this stuff. It's likely that I'm going to get some cooperation. Oh yes. Sneak up on it. I will sneak up on that turtleback little by little. Yes, I will. Till I can get it. Come on. 2 good strikes in a row. Come on. Just need one more to get that little lump out of there. Yes? Yeah. Okay. So I got rid of that turtle back there. Now where's another one? Next, let's get this one. Yes? Yeah. All right. Yay. Now we go to the next stage. See, we got rid of the turtle backs, so the preliminary thinning is done. And when it's a small piece, it doesn't take that long. So now, next stage. And there's a different mindset with every stage. Yeah. Believe it or not. Some people transition to stages without even thinking about it. Me, I can do that too, but it's better if I start thinking in stages. That way I don't forget stuff. Like, I need to make sure all this stuff is ground down nicely. I can forget, and I have a tendency to take shortcuts. And this gives me a chance to make the assessment of whether or not I'm going to use a smaller flaker, which I am going to, or not. And also I'm going to break out the files for this next stage, because it's a little bit more persnickety. Waller Monte is a new guy. Let's see. Oh yeah, Mr. Jim, this rock smells like oil. You need to experience some of this. Pitkin chert. Yes, yes. Oh, it's a heavy oil smell. Yeah. All right, so what do we do? Do we work on the ends first? You know it. You already know. People who have been watching the channel, they already know. I work on the ends first when I'm in the right frame of mind. If I forget and start working on the middle, I usually run into problems. If I start working on the middle first. Yeah. And some people might say, I run into problems no matter what. Yes, I know, but over time, you know, you get used to the knowledge of, or you start to recognize the pattern. That you get less snap and halfishnesses when you thin the ends first. Over time, it becomes a recognizable pattern. You may not experience it right away. You might have some bad luck and it doesn't work at all in the beginning. But over time, you'll see. If you remember. If you got a memory for this stuff. Some people have a better memory for this stuff than others. If you have a good memory for this stuff, you'll learn faster. I tend to forget what I just did. Yeah. What did I just do? How did I do that? It might be ADHD also, that forgetting stuff that you shouldn't be forgetting. Some of my kids have ADHD, right? So my ex-wife and I, we didn't know this. We know nothing about ADHD or autism before the kids. Anyway, they would forget stuff. We tell them how to do stuff one day, And the next day is a bright new day, and nothing got remembered. And we thought they were making it up. There's no way you could forget that. But yes, they forgot stuff that they just learned the day before. And I don't know if it was because they didn't like doing it, and their mind just kind of shuts off the memory of it, or what. That sort of thing. Yeah, had to reteach. Constantly reteach. Show them again. Show them again. Show them again. And then, what was that word you said it was? They couldn't remember what something was called. And I have that issue as well. I can't remember what something's called. And you just told me just a few minutes ago, and I still can't remember what it's called. What's it called again? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah. It's called Big Fork chert. Yeah. Why you have such a hard time remembering this Big Fork chert? I don't know. My brain just forgets it. It doesn't want to keep it. It's like a hot potato. My brain says, no, it's a hot potato. I got to give it back. Can't hold on to it. I can't hold on to the name Big Fork. It's so difficult. I got to keep repeating it over and over and over. And bring it up in conversation over and over and over. Until it becomes ad nauseum for everybody else. But for me, it's like, I still haven't repeated it enough. Still can't remember it. Yeah. So you have to repeat it over and over and over. Yeah. What are you talking about, dude? Nothing. Not everyone has issues like that. Oh, I tried to get a long flake, but it didn't work. Almost worked, and I sacrificed some of the edge to get that long flake, but it still didn't go as long as I wanted. It's okay. I can fix it. Yeah. But yeah, that's regrettable that it's so much of the edge is lost, but I don't care. Actually, no, don't care. Now that I think about it, it doesn't matter that much. We'll just change the shape. We're going to go with the flow. We're not going to try to make a certain point. No, we're just going to go with the flow. Yeah, and whatever this looks like is what we're going to use. And try not to make something special or something to spec. Just going to thin it as much as possible during this sweat stage. This is the hardest part of all of Flintknapping. That's why we got 75 people watching. Hit the like button so that YouTube will spread these videos far and wide, hopefully. Not just for me, but for other nappers too. If people like these videos, YouTube will say, hey, there's a lot of Flintknapping videos and lots of people liking them. Let's algorithmize them. Yeah. So they algorithmize these. So I guess that's as far as I want to thin it. Because if I go any further, I think I'm going to run into a lot of step fracturing. So Pitkin chert is actually good. At least this piece was. I think it'll make a nice point. All right. Let's go back into the Georgetown, shall we? Let's see. Go into the... Let's back up. This stage coming up is like a getting rid of turtleback stage. Got to pick where the longest, or pick where we're going to conserve, and we're going to conserve the longest part, right? Except for that nasty stuff. Get rid of some nasty stuff along the edges, and then see which part are we going to use? We're going to go with this part that looks pretty decent and not nasty, or we're going to keep some of the nasties and make it longer. I think the consensus usually is among spectators, they want to see length preserved, not width. So I do like to show people stuff that they want to see when it comes to knapping. So we'll do that. Yeah. I'll also show people what they don't want to see. Yeah. I can be careless. I can be careless with these things. And be spastic and haphazard. Yeah. I'm trimming, right? So I'm getting a bunch of crud flakes. But I can't really get arrowhead spalls from something this size. Some guys probably would try to be really persnickety and get, you know, big flakes off of this. I can try for a couple big flakes, you know, that I can make arrowheads out of, you know, like something like this. You can make an arrowhead out of this for an arrow. Yeah. So I can get flakes about that size. Let's see. Let's see if it's just BS or if I can actually do it. Yeah. Let me see. Try to get a bigger flake than normal. No, that's not going to do it. The Georgetown is not that good. Imagine that. How about that one? No, that broke up all into many pieces. Look how many pieces that one is. Shattery. That's not good. That indicates some snap and happiness there. And there's some inconsistency. Yeah. Tough spots. And crushing. All right, so here we go. There's differences in colors. Is one sign that it's going to be inconsistent. Not always, but yeah. I should have known. Should have known. Did it do it? Oh, I might have done it. Yeah, I can make a little bitty arrowhead out of this one. Yes, yes. Funny how you can make long flakes from the base, right? How does that work? It's almost as if someone did some knapping and said, you know what, if I design a point that takes advantage of the ease at which we can make long basil flakes, that would be awesome, huh? Yeah, I get these long flakes from the base pretty easily somehow, when I can't get them from the side. It'd be awesome if there was a point that we could make that would take advantage of that ease of making long flakes like that. Yeah. That'd be awesome. I wonder if they came up with that. I wonder. Then they would just nap around that little flute. But I just gave away the game when I said flute. Yeah. How about that one? Oh, it's another basil flake, thinning flake. So nice. Can't get those from the side for some reason. Sometimes I can. Yeah. Alrighty, so let's see if we can get some more good strikes. I'm trying to get rid of the nasty stuff, because this side is really good, right? So I'm not gonna nap much of this side right now. I'm gonna try to get rid of all this nasty stuff. Yeah. So all we're left is, all that we are left with is the good side. Yeah. Luckily this side's flat already. Yeah, it's starting to get better. Yeah, it's starting to get better. See, not as much, I don't need as much force to get these flakes to go. And they're not breaking all up. They're staying intact. Yeah. So now I just trim a little bit. We need to get some symmetry going here. We're almost out of the woods, so to speak. We're almost done with the hardest part. We just need a little more thinning. Just a little more thinning. The famous last words. Just a little bit more. Just a couple more thin flakes. That's all I want. Come on, come on. That's it. What's so hard about that? Universe isn't that greedy. It's not that nasty. Come on, universe. Just give me a little bit more thinness. Yeah. What's so hard about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the universe does not give. Nope. All right, so what is next? Thin the ends down? Well, it's kind of hard. The middle is actually really thin. To get the ends thinner than the middle is going to be hard, so what do? Well, I just try to make it as straight as possible now. And yeah, I am going to try to get the ends thin down more than the middle. We'll see. Can I do it? Can we make the ends thin? Thinner in the middle. Who is texting me during the live stream? Over and over again. That's my daughter. One of my daughters. I have 4 daughters. I still can't believe it. How did it happen? I don't know. I had no ideas. Yeah. Okay, is it working? I think it's working. To get the ends thin down. I mean, that's not supposed to do that. Other than that, I think it's working. I think the Georgetown might actually be nice. This particular piece. Yes? But I didn't explain it. I didn't explain the process. So now you wasted all that time, all those minutes you'll never get back. Because I didn't explain it. You watched all this time expecting some explanation, and now it didn't arrive. So you've wasted this. You'll never get these minutes back. No. Dang it. Oh well. You were going to look at body cam footage anyway. All these people now showing videos of body cams. The other day, there was dozens of body cams videos when I was scrolling through all the shorts and stuff. And what do they call those? Dash cams on vehicles. Truck drivers and crazy people in other countries. I think some countries require that they have a dash cam for insurance purposes or something, because there's a lot of dash cam videos out there. So go back to watching dash cams. Yeah. If you're losing moments of your life looking for an explanation as to what I'm doing. When is he going to say what he's doing? When is he going to say? I'm waiting for him to say what is he doing? I can't figure it out. He's got to say it before I can figure out what this is. Yeah. Oh well. Ooch. Let's see. It's finicky about the amount of force I use. Yes, it is. It's still crunchy on this side. It's nice on the other side. It's a very thin layer of nice material. It is getting nicer as I nap it down thinner, but you never know. It could be just a very thin layer of nice stuff, and then it's all going to be all crackly, steppy, and nasty anyways. We shall see. What's the size on this one? Hey, 3 7/8 almost. All right, so these two are at the same stage, right? They're thinned. It's just that the final thinning, the most difficult of all. There's only a little bit more to do on this. Only a little bit more to do on this, as far as the most difficult thinning of all. Yeah, just a little bit more. It's a good thing this has a big old flake there. I don't have to thin any of that down, just the other parts. Yeah. And I got to get rid of some of that crunchiness. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take flakes off of this side first, move the edge that way, and then take flakes to clean out that crunchiness. Right, so these are about the same stage. All right. Did I write Pitkin on this? Let me write Pitkin and throw these in the debitage. I won't know these are Pitkin. They stop smelling like oil after a few weeks or months. And yeah, I got to label these flakes if I want to keep track of what it is. Someone's going to ask me, what is that you're napping for these little bitty arrowheads? And I'll look and I'll say, oh, I did not write it down, so you don't get to see what kind of material it is. And now that you don't know what material is, you'll never be able to nap again. Yep.
Well, you're going to be so dramatic. That never happens.
Oh, yeah? Well, people act like it happens. I get complaints about not telling people what the stuff is. So they act like they're never going to be able to nap again.
It's not that, dude. It's the not knowing. If I don't know, I feel like I'm going to die.
Yeah, I think I get it. It's the not knowing that kills people. Yeah, mentally just wipes them out. It's funny because I bet you there's people watching that don't know how to speak English. They have no idea what I'm saying. And they're learning. Can you imagine there's people that don't speak English and they're still able to learn? How is it even possible? It's almost like they can use their eyes to see what's happening instead of their ears. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I can just see it. People saying, shut up, dude. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. people that don't speak English, they're not learning. They're just watching so they can fall asleep or so they can have an excuse to take a break from work or whatever. They're not learning. Yeah. Maybe they're not. They're certainly not watching my videos so they can learn English. I say all kinds of stupid stuff. I say stuff like symmetritize, uncrunchify. I use all kinds of words that are not in the English vocabulary. Yeah. I'm trying to uncrunchify this side while I'm symmetritizing it. Yep. It's still see, same thing on the other one. It's not, these flakes are not smooth. It's weird. So this is the yucky kind of Georgetown. Because usually it's smooth like this. But see, that side is kind of yucky. It's different consistency and material. Some people run into the unfortunate circumstance where they're easily napping this good stuff and they go, wow, this is pretty cool. It's napping really good. And they nap away all the good stuff. And then they get to the crunchy, they nap away all the good stuff and the only thing left is the crunchy stuff. And then they go, what happened? What happened? I was doing so good. It's the same rock. What happened? And they get all upset. And they throw it across the room. Or they make a powdered point. Yeah. What's a powdered point? It's one of those things, if you know, you know. How am I going to get rid of that nasty spot on there? How am I going to get rid of all these nasty spots? So it looks like a dilemma. I wonder. Let's see. How can we get rid of those nasty spots? Well, we can grind and use a bopper. We can put this on our leg and get support for those flakes that are going to have to be very well supported. You know, before we can get rid of those nasty spots and thick spots on the edge, right? Wait, what thick spots? What are you talking about? Those thick spots that were on here. You forgot to support your workpiece. You forgot the angles that were, and you forgot this isolated areas. You forgot all that. Did I? I don't think I forgot any of that. No. And I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see any thick spots. Yeah. And I didn't follow ridges. Not all the time. I mean, I recommend following ridges. Yes. It actually makes it easier. But you don't have to. Yeah. And support the flakes. You know, I didn't pull on the flakes with my fingers or nothing. I didn't isolate any areas on the edge. I didn't make what they call isolated platforms. None of that stuff. I mean, you can. I'm not saying that you can't. I just don't. I don't know what you're talking about. Completely unnecessary stuff. That's what you're talking about, right?
No, dude, it's not unnecessary stuff because internet culture, you know, it says that all that stuff is vital. V-I-T-A-L, vital and required.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the chat. Everyone's kind of, I don't know if they're listening or not. I think people just let me ramble and don't even pay attention. Oh, he's rambling again. Yeah. What are we talking about? Let's talk about growing grapes or something while he's rambling. I've heard this rambling many times, and, you know, we could talk about other stuff. He'll get over it. He'll get over himself. I see some new people in the chat. All right, so there's not much more to go on this one either. So we got three, and how long have I been online? An hour and 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, we're going to finish one of these out, and we're going to haft it. We'll probably run it into 45 minutes. Okay, so which one are we going to do? Maybe I can do a beveled point on the thick piece. Bevels show up really nice on thick pieces. Or I can thin this way down and make another like pine tree looking thing out of the Pitkin. We got options. We got stuff we can do. This is like an in-betweener. I can make an in-betweener point. Not too thick, not too thin. Yeah. So we got options. I'll look at the chat and see what we got going there, and then carry on after I clean this up a little bit. All right, right. All right, so here we go. They're not arrowheads yet, okay? They're what we call bifaces. Once they start looking like arrowheads, then they're called preforms, and then we finish them out to a finished point. All right, so what do we got in the chat? I use a separate phone because it's easier for me to see. Just in case you're new. I see some new guys. So just in case you're brand new. Oh yeah, how about a San Patrice on the Pitkin? Yeah, we can look up that's a good idea. I actually promised that I was going to do one, right? Or I said I was. We're going to do a San Patrice, yeah. Rockin' Pop's Adventures is here. Stacy is here. He's the one that gave me this. Yeah. Brandon Petty says, I ain't gonna lie, I love your rants. You do? Well. I need to start doing more then. I'm making it at that little dart point. Okay. I made this one the other day. This one, I took the sinew off because it's just temporarily hafted. But this is a pine tree that I made the other day. When did I make this? It wasn't last night because I do slab nights on Wednesdays. What did I do for... Oh, yeah, I did some glass. I did TV glass last night. This was from the night before. This is a pine tree made from Fort Payne chert. But I'm going to make a San Patrice tonight. And I bet you it'll fit in this foreshaft. So let me take this out. This is just modeling clay. It's not the real hafting glue. It's modeling clay so I can remove this easily. Right? And we're going to make a San Patrice that fits into this particular foreshaft. Yeah, let's see if we need to go any thinner than this. Probably not. Hold on a second. If I need a different foreshaft, because I think the San Patrice were hafted to wide foreshafts. But like this one here is pretty wide. Much wider than that one. So I think I can use this one. Yeah, this one is a little bit too narrow. I can use this one for the San Patrice, right? I would have to... Yeah, well, let's just use this foreshaft for the San Patrice, because since it's very wide. Why does it have to be wide? You'll see. Yeah. San Patrice has a very wide neck on it. I'll show you in the book. So we're going to use that foreshaft. All right? Surprise, surprise. I've got a bin full of foreshafts. What else we got in the chat? Let me just make sure I didn't miss a question or miss a super chat. Let's see. I can't pronounce your name. Nayurb Relimer? I don't know. It's usually better for a live streamer to ramble to avoid awkward, silent moments anyway. Yeah, that is true, I guess. Yep. Good point. Yeah. I'll just fill all the silent spots with ramblings. Or I can giggle and hum. I can also make fun of people. That'll fill the time. Or fill these spots that are awkward silences. Let's see. Okay. I see these comments that are people talking to each other. Let's see. Alan says, Patrick will make a book someday. Wait a second here. Someone gave me a LOL gift or something. Go away so I can see. Okay. Patrick will make a book someday that will be called The Flintknappers Dictionary. Yeah. I'll make, the Flintknappers Sniglets. You ever heard of Sniglets? It's an old term for words that you make up that are not in the dictionary. Sniglets. Someone did the LOL again. What is that? What is that? Yeah, this is not like Bob Ross. Some people say that I'm like the Bob Ross of Flintknapping, but I'm not going to admit to that because I don't think so. Bob Ross has very steady tone. I'm all over the place, and I make weird voices. Yeah, I don't think Bob Ross made weird voices. He was just steady, very calm, always talking about peaceful things, never making fun of people. Never being condescending and all kind of, annoying. So I don't know. I appreciate the compliment though. Tide and Tail says, most insurance companies in the U.S. won't cover commercial vehicles unless there's a dash cam in them now. Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, Jack Crafty is a screen name. It's a channel name. My name is Patrick. My actual real name. But you can call me Jack. Yeah. There's some people that still call me Jack even though they know my name. Am I getting set up to go hunting? No, these are not hunting points. I don't hunt with atlatl darts. I mean, you can. So I guess they could be hunting points, but I don't I don't hunt with atlatl dart points. Or atlatl darts. Let's see. So you finally made a few points, Tide and Tail, after watching some of my stuff? Awesome. The Georgetown has not been heat treated, Jim. This is raw Georgetown. It started out as a big chunk, in case you missed it. I don't know if you've been here the whole stream, but you normally don't see big chunks of Georgetown heat treated. For the new guys, the new guys might think, well, since Jim asked the question if it's heat treated and started out like a huge chunk, is it possible to heat treat huge chunks? And my answer is yes, but it's risky. So I would say no. to as a recommendation, I would say no. Do not heat treat great big chunks like I was napping. Jadeite. Does anyone have any ideas on how jadeite would be to nap? Since I haven't heard of jadeite being napped very much, I would assume that it's not good. If something is good to nap, you'll know, because everyone will be talking about it. Usually when you ask a question like, can such and such be napped? The answer is 99% of the time is no, because you would have heard that it's really good for napping if it was really good for napping. Is that it? I thought I saw a super chat. The good thing is, not too many of you guys attach pressing questions or very vitally relevant questions with the super chats. But here we go. Here's a $10 super chat from Nerb Relimer. I can't pronounce her name. Given the size of the Ross blade points, I'm wondering if they would ever have been effective as at ladle dart points. I would say no. The Ross blades look to be knives. Yeah. One of my rules that I've just invented, because people ask me how do I tell the difference between the at-ladle dart point and a knife. If the hafting area on the thing you're asking about is wider than an inch, it's probably a knife. Now on the Ross blades, they're funny because the hafting area looks to be small on a big blade. When that's the case, it's probably attached to a lanyard and not a stick, which means it's hung around your neck. Just like corner tangs. Big corner tangs with little bitty necks on the tangs. That means they're hung on a lanyard. Okay? So my guess on a Ross blade that has a very narrow neck is actually hung on a lanyard and not attached to a stick. Let me just look to see. In the back of this book, there's an index. Let's see if there's an alphabetical index somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. And I can look up, where is Ross blade in here? Just so I can look at the size. Because I need to know. I need to know. Ross, what page? It just shows the age. Dang. Oh, East Central and North Central. Those are the sections of the book. Okay. East Central. Let's look at East Central and look at the Ross. Right here. Showing 50%. Let's look up North Central because it doesn't seem to be in that one. I know what you're talking about. Okay. Let's look at this. R element of PQR. We missed it. Well, this says Ross here too. And this is the actual size. I thought Ross blade was something else. This is definitely a knife and not an at-ladle dart point. This thing. I thought Ross was something else, but this particular thing is a knife blade in my opinion. At-ladle dart points are about this size. Okay? Like a Robinson. Late archaic. These are definitely at-ladle dart points. These are knives. These Ramey knives. It even says Ramey knife. Let me see here. I thought I knew what you were talking about, but I guess not. Let me look here. They've got pictures in here of a bunch of stuff for quick reference. Where Where was it? I just saw something on Facebook. I don't know. What was I thinking of? No idea. Now I can't stop looking. I need to see what I was looking for. I'll draw a picture. If I can't find it in the book, I'll draw a picture, and then someone will say, oh, I know what that is. It's a blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was a Ross blade. I still don't see it. But you know, some of these big blades with these little bitty necks across the stem, I think these are hung on lanyards or something and not attached to sticks. That was just one example. Same with these little bitty areas and little small narrow necks. That's not I don't think that's attached to a stick. It looks like it's hung on something. It's like this. See that? If you attach a stick on there, that's going to snap right off within 5 minutes. Yeah, you're going to be all proud of your hafting, and then you're going to be swinging it around or using it, and you're going to hear this little pop, and that means that little stem has snapped off in the haft. They don't last at all. So I would say that's attached to a lanyard. I can't find it. I'm going to draw a picture, and you guys can tell me what it is. What I thought was a Ross blade. Okay? We're going to take a pause for station identification and come back to our regularly scheduled programming in a minute. This is what I saw on Facebook that I thought was a Ross blade. Something like that. Okay? From memory, I think it looks like that. What is it? I don't know what this is. And it was made from Buffalo River. Chert. What is this one? With a little bitty neck across the stem. And a big old blade like that. And maybe these come down and they're the same depth. Let's see. I don't know. Tomahawks. Okay, there's an internet culture that says a tomahawk. Let's see, how should I do this? Some people think that there's tomahawks made by Native Americans that look like this. And this is some kind of stone, knapped stone. Native Americans did not make tomahawks like this. This is a tourist shop item. Indians did not make these. Native Americans did not make these. Not for fighting or for anything else. Okay? The closest thing you're going to get is something that's knapped like this. You know, with flakes taken out. Knapped like this. And then you put a typical war club handle on it, and it's wrapped and it's usually bent over the top. It's not a split piece of wood with any cross hatchings like this. Okay, it looks like this, which is very similar to the plains style war clubs made of ground down stone. Some of them are rounded on both sides, and it's just rawhide over the top, and sometimes they wrap the grip, and sometimes there's a feather or something on these, but they're usually not decorated. But they're all looking similar like this, and these are called war clubs. This kind of thing is a fantasy. The closest thing to a tomahawk were the trade items that were traded to the Indians by sailors. And there was an actual item issued to sailors back in the day that had a spike on one end and an X head on the other end. Okay, and then it had like a steel setup where you could put pins in there, and this was wood on this side, and this was all steel. And then later on they got smart because Indians liked pipes, and they ended up putting a pipe on one end with a blade on the other. They ended up doing this and to trade to the Indians, but this was all steel. Steel. That's the only thing that were tomahawks back in the day, and it started out as this, and this is an axe they used on board ships. Okay, and lo and behold, the sailors would trade with the Native Americans whatever they had available, and these were for ships, and they were for cutting through bulkheads and through doors and stuff, either to get access to people trapped in fires or to escape if you were trapped in a fire. Okay? These are like fire axes, but they're small. They were small enough that you can carry them around all the time. So what is this here? I'm looking for this. Yeah, boarding axe. Someone knows. What else we got? Let's see here. It's not a Kirk, yeah. I'm gonna have to go on Facebook and show you this thing here. Anyway, this if you find out what this is for me, or even if you find it in the future, a little bitty stem like this with a little bitty neck, that's usually hung on a lanyard. If you don't know what a lanyard is, it's a loop, usually made of, leather or something, wrapped around. And there's various ways to hang these, and it's probably a neck ornament. Anyways, let's get back. Oh yeah, I need to look up San Patrice. See what section of the book it's in, because I want to do something that looks like something in the book. Yeah. San Patrice, St. John's variant, Keithville variant, South Central. Okay, South Central is this. So we're going to look for that. San Patrice. These are San Patrice points. Okay, and you can see why I'm choosing a... Oh, these are San Patrice also. But I'll show you why I'm choosing a wide foreshaft. Because the neck on these is wide. See how wide this neck is here? Very short stem. So the wood needs to be almost as wide as that neck. Okay? Just as wide or almost as wide as the neck on these. And look at these. This San Patrice is very wide, so you need something even wider than this. Why do you need it wide? Well, it doesn't make any sense to have the sinew way out in the middle of nowhere. You need something that, see how wide this is? You need something that wide to haft it in. So when you wrap it, it takes advantage of the notches. Yeah. See what I mean? But we're going to be not making something that large. We're making something in line with what this is. It is going to be reduced in size when I sharpen it and stuff. So, and we can either make San Patrice Keithville, or one of these Hope varieties. Okay, it's just a short stem with protruding ears. And it's early archaic. Okay, 10,000 to 8,000 before present. Okay, so I've got to straighten these sides out. I got to dish out the bottom, or make the bottom concave, and put these little side notches in. Okay, and I don't know, are these beveled or serrated? Some of these are fluted. I can try putting a little flute in there. Fluted, yeah. Some of these are fluted. So I'm going to try doing a little flute. Some of these have delicate little ears. I'm not going to do delicate ears. I'll just do something that looks like this, but only bigger. Okay, and try a little flute. All right? All right. So we got some work to do. Yeah, before this is going to look like a San Patrice. All right. Let's see. Let's see. I got a super chat. You don't want me to start yet. Okay, so super chat. Have you ever made a Cumberland? Me? No. I found one in my yard made of Tyrone. Tyrone chert? Yeah, I've never made a Cumberland, and I have no desire to. I'm eventually going to buy a jig to make those, and we'll see. But yeah, I'm not interested in making Cumberlands or Folsoms or parallel flaked items. But, I'll do it once in a while. Or I will do it once in a while. Why am I not interested in those? Well, like I've been saying many times, as soon as I start making something cool, people are going to say, that's not the way they did it. You're not doing it right. You're using some strange method that you came up with. It's not right. So I'm not even going to bother with it. Yeah, I've heard that way too many times already. I'm going to come up with my own method to make those. And when I do it, I'm just going to ignore any comments that say I'm not doing it right. But I just don't want to deal with it right now. Nicholas Wolf, I found an arrowhead once that was so awesome it was 4 arrowheads together like a throwing star. Really? I don't know, dude. Making a Kimberly point without an anvil stone? Yeah. Yeah, like making a Kimberly point without an anvil stone. Hey, we got people I haven't seen in a while here. What's up? Let's see. If you're in the chat and you're only like 12 years old, I'll cut you some slack if you say something silly. But if you say something silly more than twice, I'm going to assume that you're too young to be in the chat, and I'll either say, moderators, he needs to be put in timeout, or I will put you in timeout. Yeah, someone asked, you think I could make a tomahawk from stone? I just did right here. I can use this as one of those tourist shop tomahawks. Yeah, there you go. Answered that question. I can turn this into one of those tourist shop tomahawks. Is it a real thing using back in the past? Absolutely not. Hixton quartz. Yeah, I've napped Hixton quartz. Yeah, from Wisconsin. I got Hickston. I also have Tallahassee. The Hickston comes in various grades. I mean, it's okay. I think I've napped heat-treated Hickston as well as raw Hickston. Now, Tallahassee, I hear that it won't heat treat, right? So I've just been napping raw Tallahassee. Tallahassee comes to mind because I've got some sitting over here that I haven't napped yet. I'm going to use it for one of my challenges. Tuesdays and Thursdays are challenge nights. I'm going to break out the Tallahassee one of these nights. Okay. Aaron says, I live in a small town. I'm trying to organize a night where we can do Jet Crafty at the drive-in. Waller Monte says, I'm 58, but I want to be 12. Oh, no, you don't. You want to be 12 years old without a fully developed brain? When I was 12, I didn't know diddly. I would not go back to being young. Why would you want to go back to being young when the brain doesn't work right? I found the photograph on my phone and it definitely matches your illustration. So what is it called? What is it called, please? Let's see. Midbar says obsidian's not good for axes, but the South Americans made scary sword things with it. Yeah, but they use wood for the core of the swords. The swords from Central America are 90% wood and 10% stone. Just stone on the edges. Somebody gave me super chat. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I found the photograph on my phone that matches your illustration. There are two pictures. One says Obsidian Blade, Hopewell Mound Group, Ross County. The other says Knife River, Chalcedony Blade, Hopewell Mound Group, Ross County. So we were looking for Ross points, right? Because now I forgot the name of it already. Ross Blade, Hopewell Mound, Ross County. Yeah, so it matches this one, right? It's a Hopewell point. Let me see. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. $20. Awesome. Let me look it up. Let's see. Ross County, Hopewell artifact. Blade. Maybe that's enough to find it. Images. Okay, here we go. Hopewell blades. See, this is what I was looking for. Okay, so lithic casting lab. It says Ross blade. But if I look up Ross blade, there it is. Right here. See that? I knew some of these had notches. Okay? So this is hung on a lanyard. It's not attached to a stick when it's like this, because that's way too narrow. Now this is a modern, right? Or no? It's a reproduction, yeah. So Ross blades can be notched or not notched. This says Ross blade here. I didn't know that. I didn't know that could be notched or not notched. Let's do the lithic casting lab. Ross point. It says here they were non-utilitarian ceremonial objects. They were ceremonial. That's what it says here on lithic casting labs. They were named by James B. Griffin for examples found in Hopewell Mounds, Ross County, Ohio. Okay, I don't want to read the whole thing, but yeah. See how narrow that is? That's not attached to a stick. Okay, that was my point. If someone asked me about the Ross blades being at ladle dart points, definitely not. They were knives of some sort, and they were ceremonial for sure. How they were hafted, it's debatable. I might be wrong, but it looks like they were hafted either on a short little stick and then a lanyard, or just a lanyard by itself. Okay? All right. What am I looking for? I got to prepare the San Patrice. I'm already past my 2-hour time limit. Yeah. So here we go. Thank you for that. Thank you for pointing. I thought that was Ross blade. Yeah. I just didn't know they could be notched or unnotched. Come on. This stuff, this Pitkin is slippery. Don't tell me it's slippery. Or maybe that it's too pointed. That particular piece of copper was too pointed on that flaker. Now we're cooking with gas. All right. So I'm going to try to do little flutes. Okay? And if I break this, it's your fault. Yeah. It's not my fault. It's not my idea. So to ensure the best chance for success, I've got to prepare. Come on. It's not doing it. I got to make sure I have good convexity. But not like that. Hold on. So I got to make sure I have good convexity for the flutes. It doesn't work right if I run the flute on a flat. Okay? All right. So you got to bear with me. And I do want to put little flutes in here because they're cool. But people say I'm not going to do it right. I'll just have to live with it for now. All right, let's see. And then, yeah, there's a chance I could break it. Okay, so if I break it, like I said, it's not my fault. That one didn't go very far. They don't need to go very far for these, but we may have to try this again. Second attempt, yeah. We're going to have to do more than one attempt. I can see already. I'm trying to play it safe so I don't break this. Yeah. It looks like we can go again. Let's do a little fluty on the other side, shall we? Now that we're here, we'll try something on the other side. Let's see. We'll just go with the flow. I don't know exactly if I'm going to get the right convexity right away. The correct convexity. Is that a correct? That's not the correct convexity. I've got a slight dip. It's going to have to be a deeper concavity. So we'll just keep going. We're going to reflute this side. Yes. Do we have the convexity? We have the technology. I mean the convexity. Now, if you see me do it, you'll be able to do it, right? That's why you want to see me do it, so that once you see it being done, you can do it, right? No? Why do you want to see me do it? Ah, because Flintknapping is a spectator sport. That's why. Yes, I know. I will shut up. Okay. Well, we're getting just shallow flutes. Well, this might be good enough. Maybe. See, I don't want it to dive in. So I'm creating a lot of convexity so it won't dive in, because diving in will cause it to break in many cases. We'll see what we can get on the other side. And we'll keep going until we get a nice one, because we got plenty of space. I can keep going until we get nice flutes. Because San Patrice points are not supposed to be very long anyway. Yeah. Now, they don't all have flutes, but I'm going to put it in just because people want to see it. Inquiring minds want to know, and they want to see. Because they're so inquiring. Yeah. Where's the book? I gotta make sure I don't mess this up. So you'll see me try over and over again until I get something that looks good. Did they do it this way back in the day? Who knows? The answer probably is yes, with all the thousands that were made and all the thousands of different flint knappers, chances are they were made in many different ways. Right? Right. They don't all make them in the same way, especially if they're kind of isolated from each other. Besides, some people are stubborn. They don't want to copy what the other guy does. It might not work for them. They might have ADHD. And it just doesn't work for them. They need to do this their own way, or they're not interested in making them. Yeah, just like my sons. If they're not working on something they like, they're not going to do it. It's got to be done their way, too. ADHD is like that. You don't think knappers had ADHD back in the day and wanted to do it the way they want to do it? You don't think so? They weren't normal humans? Oh yeah, I forget. They were probably aliens. Yeah. All right, so what I'm trying to do is develop some convexity that will allow us to get these nice flutes. And I'm just going to keep going until I get them. And it could take another 30 minutes. It's going to take as long as it takes. Okay? Okay. I might not be able to get another good flake on that side. I might just leave it. See if I can get a good flake on this side. Yeah, still looks too flat. So even with good convexity, I couldn't get a good one. Let's see what it looks like on this side. I'm just going to get a short flute again, probably. Yeah, just a short one, but it's okay. We're going to reflute this one now again and just live with what we get. There's that awkward silence. I got to pay attention or this won't work right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how did that one go? Let's see. It went off to the side a little bit. But we're just going to live with that. Yeah. Okay. So now we just shape it. So I'm going for this shape right here in the middle. This one here. Easy peasy. Yeah. I'll look in the book from time to time. It does fit in the haft. It's thin enough. I don't need to thin it anymore. And that's why they put the flutes in, so it'd be thin enough to fit in their foreshafts. Okay? So it's plenty thin now. Somebody says he keeps hearing click, click, click. When I'm when I'm pressure flaking or what? Or is it separate from the pressure flaking? I'm going to check the audio myself. Let's see here. I just hear my voice. I don't hear clicking in the background. Let's see here. I just hear my voice. I don't hear clicking in the background. Yeah, so if you hear clicking, it's probably because of the pressure flaking, right? You hear that? Mm-hmm. It's because of the pressure flaking that you hear the clicking. I want to know because I don't like the sound that's messed up. I don't like messed up sounds. I want to try to fix them. Okay. If you're hearing clicks while I'm doing the Flintknapping or the pressure flaking, that's a good thing. That's what it's supposed to sound like. It's not supposed to sound like it's crunching the edges. Someone says you don't want dead air. Yeah. Usually on live streams, you don't want dead air. So I guess you were saying that there's no dead air because there's clicking? Maybe I misinterpreted the whole thing. Okay, no issues and no tissues. Thank you, thank you. Alrighty. Okay, I misinterpreted the whole thing, sorry. Okay, so here we go. We're going to be trying to shape this into a San Patrice. Now, are there serrations? I'm looking in the book. Hold on. I just see, jagged edges on some of them, but no serrations. So it just looks like they just sharpened it in a typical manner. All right, no worries. I'm just going to sharpen it in a typical manner. Okay? So So there will be a lot of pressure flaking. A lot of pressure flaking going on. Okay, I'm going to straighten the edges out and all that, but I'm not going to make them too perfect. Okay, okay. So, yeah, where there's thick spots, I'll take pressure flakes. I'll space them out so they're not right next to each other. I don't see parallel flaking on these in the photos. Sometimes there's beveled edges on points, but I didn't see any in the photos. So it just looks like it's just pressure flake regularly, or like normal, so to speak. Kind of random, but not too random. Kind of like that, right? And then I'll just do that on the other side too. I have to dull the edges before I can pressure flake, so that's what I'm doing. Some people get confused, or they don't know why. Why the heck would I be dulling them after I just sharpened it? Well, because I can't run flakes on the other side when it's all sharp. I gotta run flakes on both sides, or it doesn't look like it's a correct arrowhead. Yeah. Even though sometimes they only flaked on one side. People don't know that, so they think it needs to be flaked on both sides, which is fine. I think it looks better when it's flaked on both sides anyway. But it doesn't have to be. Anyways, here we go. This stuff pressure flakes easily, relatively speaking. Except the tip, if it's too sharp, for me, it tends to slip too much. It needs a more rounded tipped flaker to be easy to flake. It's either that or the copper on my more pointed flaker is a different kind of copper that's more slippery than this copper, but they're both nails, the copper nails. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm going to make it smoother. It looks like it's getting too pitted. I'm still going to keep it dull, but it looks like it's too pitted. Stupided? No, too pitted. Yeah, English is a funny sounding language. I say it's too pitted, and it sounds like I'm saying stupided. It's stupided. No, it's too pitted. That's what I said. No, you said stupided. No, I said it's too pitted. Yeah, that works better when it's smoother. And then I'll just go back and remove the dull spots. And thin it down where it needs to be thinned. I like the way this pressure flakes. It doesn't crush. I'm amazed how non-crushy this is. Yeah. A lot of these tips, they were not really pointy. Okay. I'm looking in the book. It looks like the tips were not needle tips. So I was making it a little too pointy there. Anyways, we go back to sharpening. I'm just going to remove the dull spots now from the abrading. It's just a matter of picking off wherever I see a dull spot. Picking at the edge a little bit. That way we have sharpness. There are many ways to sharpen. This is the easiest way. Just picking off the dull spots with little bitty flakes. Some people don't like that look where there's a lot of flakes like this. They like several, I mean, not several, but spaced out flakes with maybe dull spots in between, but they don't care about the dull spots in between. They don't like to see a lot of flakes, but that's okay. I mean, I don't mind seeing a lot of flakes near the edge like that. Okay, so now we just put the side notches in. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. The ears don't extend beyond the sides. They're kind of they're less wide. So let me just trim it down. You know what I mean? This distance here above the notches is wider than the distance here across the ears. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. I think these were ground down after they were put in place, right? I gotta check to see if the sides are ground down. If they're ground down, I'll grind them. If the real ones were ground down, I'll grind these down. So yeah, I'm going to focus on this last stage. I'm looking in the book so I can cheat. Okay, so let me check to see if they're ground down. All right, let's see. So the center depression doesn't have to go very far. Some of them are deep, but not all of them. Let's see. Louisiana to Oklahoma, small size, thin, auriculate side notch point with a short concave base. Some examples are fluted, others are thin from the base. Basal area is usually ground. Blade edges can be serrated. Okay, so they're usually ground. All right. No need to tell me twice. Let's grind them down. Yeah, let me pick at the edges a little bit more so they're easier to grind down. So if I just pick at the edges like this, they're easier to grind down later. Because I'm removing the delicate areas. Yeah, grinding does remove the delicate areas too. But it takes longer if you don't do this ahead of time. And it doesn't look as good. See, this way you can predict how the edges will look. I want to nap it on both sides. There were not many flakes on that side. You know what I mean? There are not many flakes on this side. I want it to look like it's been bifacially flaked. Yeah, like that. So they're thin. Some of them are fluted, some are not, but I did thin down that area with some, you know, fluty type flakes. Now I just got to grind everything. So you grind it flat like this, you grind it a little bit like this, a little bit like this. Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's just straight flat across. You don't want that look to it. You want it rounded and smoothed. I've seen ground down paleo style points, and they're almost like polished, but it's rounded. It's not straight across. So I'm assuming that's the same thing with these. I don't think I've seen any of these in real life. And it seems like these sides are very well flaked, so you're not going to get like this sharp corner. Let me smooth that out. It looks like they were very rounded and no sharp corners in there. Yeah, like that. The only other thing to do is make it more symmetrical. They're not symmetrical in the book, but you know, I could try making it more symmetrical. After grinding, I see that I probably ground away some of that corner. Anyway, it doesn't need to be symmetrical. Yeah. But I did it anyway. Okay. So now it's hafting time. Yes? Yeah, hafting time. All right, who do we got in the chat? I see some activity. Oops, come on. Beautiful point, says Eric Kitty. Thank you, thank you. Rock and Pop's Adventures that is absolutely my favorite point to make. Great job, Patrick. Well, thank you, thank you. I didn't know that was your favorite, or I forgot. The book says the basal area is ground. Okay. Awesome, awesome. If I was an Indian, I'd say, how perfect, says Chad Ryan. Thank you, thank you. All right, so let's see. What material is that, Georgetown? This is Pitkin chert. Georgetown is down there. I napped these earlier. You can see the difference between the Georgetown and the Pitkin. Although there is dark Georgetown, these are very different materials. First of all, this smells like oil, this Pitkin chert, and Georgetown does not. Absolutely not. And they nap differently. Okay. Just so you know. Okay, so I'm looking to see, did I miss a question or a super chat? Let's see, wait a second. No, I didn't miss. Okay. Let's get this hafted. Put the sinew in the water. This is backstrap sinew. And no, I'm not going to chew on this. I'm not silly crazy like some of those guys on YouTube. I'm not going to risk the bacteria giving me a stomachache tonight. I'm reusing this anyway. So I don't know if this might be getting moldy by now. There's no way I'm going to chew on it. Did they reuse sinew in the past? I don't see why not. You got to replace these blades every time they break, so I don't see why you wouldn't reuse the sinew. If you can soak it in water, now if the sinew is covered with glue that's waterproof, it'd be hard to remove the sinew without, cutting it to pieces. So maybe that wasn't always reused. But I think it was reused a lot. All right, let's use modeling clay to substitute for the actual glue. It's getting cool tonight. Yeah, it's like 50 degrees in here, whereas last night it was like 80 degrees. It was like 80 in here last night, but it's only 50 in here tonight. I'm in Vermont. We have that problem. Yeah. The problem with weird weather. Yeah, so last night I was sweating and tonight I'm freezing. And the modeling clay takes longer to get pliable. I'm putting a little bit extra in here because this is a little bit thin for this notch, so a little bit extra modeling clay to fill up the voids. Yeah. So you know the deal. If this was real hafting glue, I would be using hot melt, and I'd be next to a fire and all that stuff, warming it up and using water on my fingers so that it doesn't stick. Hot melt hafting glue is very sticky, but this is not. This is just for demonstration purposes, this black modeling clay. But it looks very similar, and the idea is the same. It fills all the gaps and creates a smooth transition between the stone and the wood. And it also, acts as an adhesive, but it acts also, which is very important, acts as a filler of all the gaps. Okay, so I'm just smoothing it out. I'll put the sinew on. See, it's still soaking, so it takes a minute for the sinew to get pliable. It started out nice and dry and kind of stiff, but when you soak it, it becomes pliable and much more conducive to wrapping. What am I doing here? I'm trying to get that wood covered. Okay, so this is my style of foreshaft that I like using. I'll put score marks in it, but the diameter here is pretty similar to existing artifacts. Okay, it's between, I'd say, 12 to 14 millimeters across for little dart points. And when you put the hafting glue in here, it makes a nice transition between the stone and the wood, and it fills all the gaps where the sinew is going to be placed. Okay, you'll see. Let me take my glove off. And I'm using thick pieces of sinew. On arrow points, I don't use sinew this thick. But this isn't that little dart point. And yeah, I would also use hide glue or some other glue with the sinew if I was actually hafting this to use it. I'm showing this as a demonstration. Okay? So I'm using modeling clay, and I'm not using glue on the sinew. But it is real sinew. It's not artificial sinew. You can use artificial sinew, but I don't recommend it because it's better to get used to the real thing, I think. If you use artificial sinew, it looks like a tourist shop item, in my opinion, okay? Which might not be bad, but I just don't like it. No, I guess I could make a little crisscross. Let's see, where does it need it? It's got nice ears on the San Patrice, so you can do a little crisscross, I suppose, down at the bottom. But you can just wrap it without crisscrossing it. You know what I mean? I needed some down on the foreshaft. Make sure it doesn't split the wood when it hits. You don't want that wood splitting when it hits the target or breaking. So go down on the shaft down a little bit. All right, there you go. Now as it dries, it shrinks, right? And the glue should be filling all the gaps. All the gaps. I don't want to see any gaps. So let me put some more glue in there. Pretend glue. And fill all the gaps so there's no sinew just out. So there's no sinew flying by itself without glue underneath of it. That glue should fill all the gaps. In my opinion, there should be no gaps between the sinew and the glue, or the sinew and the wood, or the sinew and the stone. No gaps anywhere. In my opinion, there shouldn't be any gaps. All those gaps can trap bacteria or mold or things that will cause the sinew to rot and start to smell, for instance. Okay? As an example, there are other reasons why you don't want gaps for strength purposes. And as it dries, you can smooth it down, but that's what I think it would look like. Now you can shorten the wood down and just put sinew over the top of the wood and not expose any of that glue. But as you can see in many of my videos, I make deeper notches in the wood so that wood sits up higher onto the blade to make it more sturdy in this direction. But I think some of the artifacts I've seen have very short little notches in the wood. Okay, and it makes it easier to carve the foreshaft for sure if there's just a short little notch. I cheat and use a bandsaw. Okay, but that's what I think it would look like hafted. Okay, and this gets inserted into the main shaft, probably about that much. I would say 3 inches or so. If you look at the drills that they used to make back in the day, just the average size drill, I think, is like 2.5 inches. Stone drills. Those stone drills were used to drill out the voids so you can insert these foreshafts. Yeah, 3 inches maximum, right? Probably about 2.5 inches in depth. Okay. And you can also use these as knives like this. You have a bunch of these stashed in your equipment, right? And whenever one breaks, you can just replace it. And then when you go back to the campsite, you can just replace the blades into the foreshaft. Okay? If you can recover the broken blade and foreshaft. Sometimes you lose these. But you're not going to lose the whole dart. You're just going to lose the tip. The dart will fall away. Some of these were friction fit. Some of these were glued in. It depends, I guess, on the particular hunting expedition or what you're hunting, or maybe even the culture. I don't know. But I don't think all of these were friction fit or all of these were glued. I think there was a combination of both. Okay, so what do we got? I'm gonna say goodnight. That's it. I've been online for almost 3 hours. What do we got? Jorge Valadez, How about that? Looks excellent, Patrick. Thanks for another great live. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I did like this material. This Pitkin chert worked pretty good. Alrighty. The trick is matching the width of the foreshaft to the point base. Yeah. Yep. I'd like to see how you'd haft a Madison triangle point in the future, if I can catch a future video. Madisons are not difficult. Let me see. I can show you how to haft one. Let's see. Yeah, it'll only take me a few minutes. Let me see here. Hold on. I have arrow foreshafts also. I'm looking for a deep arrow foreshaft. A deep notch. You need a deep notch for a Madison. What other ones are there? That one's a deep notch too. Let's see. No, I use that for hunting points. Let's see. Madisons are sometimes pretty thick, right? So where's a good one? Let me just get a bunch of these. These are arrow foreshafts. That's a small atlatl dart foreshaft. I'm looking for a deep. These are my 3 deepest notched. Okay, so let's see. I've got templates, and I've got one in here that probably matches pretty close. These are made of cardboard, but there's some in here that are pretty close to a Madison looking type of thing. And I can just wrap it with sinew as well. I don't know. Let's see. I'm looking for one that does not have side notches. These all have side notches. Except this one here. See, a Madison is similar to that, right? So I'll show you how to wrap it. There's actually a couple of ways. Which one should I use? What have I used before? This is like a preform for a Cahokia. Which one is the deepest notch? It doesn't matter. They're about the same. Why a deep notch? You'll see, because the whole thing is the stem. This whole bottom area is the stem. It's like a barbless arrowhead where this whole wide area is a stem. Okay. I'm going to use I'll use this one here. And I said there was a couple of ways. Yeah. The way that I think it was most commonly hafted, I'll show you. Lots of glue. Some of the Madisons are thick, but I think a lot of them were thin. If it's really thick, you cut the notch a little bit different than what you see here. The notch for a thick point is not parallel sided. For a thick point, you don't get parallel sided notch. You get more of a V shape like this for a thick point, but with a wider a wider foreshaft with a V notch and not parallel sided. This one here, this notch in here is parallel sided, which is okay for thin points. But like Lavana points are very thick, so as an example, you would carve a V notch, not a parallel sided notch. And lots of glue. You need lots of glue because you don't want any gaps between the wood and the stone. And yeah, this is a piece of cardboard, but you got to use your imagination. I don't have a stone point in that shape right now. I'm trying to get this symmetrical. Anyways, the way I would do this would be with a lot of glue, and then okay, let's see. Yeah, because I'm doing this now since you probably won't catch the next one where I actually do a Madison. Because I don't know when I'm going to do a Madison. I've done one that's similar. So the way I would do it is I would just wrap it all the way up the blade. And yeah, it uses up some of the blade surface. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to wrap up on the blade, but I think that's the way they used to do it. Because the whole bottom part of the arrowhead is the stem. Where's the other piece? It's easier when I can glue this down, yes. But we're just gonna make do with what we got. Okay, you just got to bear with me because I can't glue this down. It's not staying glued down. I think you're getting the idea, but I just want to finish this out. Okay, I think we got it. And yeah, I can crisscross a little bit down here. And my rule for crisscrossing is you got to go at least once around before you go back up. Because it doesn't do any good when you crisscross like this. If you go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. You've got to wrap around the foreshaft a little bit, at least once. So I think the Madisons were hafted like that. Lots of glue in there so there's no gaps between the sinew and the stone. Probably wrap a little bit more down here, but there's a lot of wrapping up on the blade. And I've seen them use metal and then wrap the same way as how they would wrap the stone. Okay, and it might not make sense to have this up on the blade, but that's how they used to wrap them on the artifacts. Okay, the ones made of metal, there are some that are in museums that are metal, that are very similar to the Madison points, that are wrapped just like this. Okay, so that's how I'd wrap a Madison. All right. Oops. Yeah, seems similar to hafting a Clovis. Yeah. Just keep in mind, right? The way I remember it is the whole bottom part is the stem. There's no barbs. That's just the stemmed point without barbs. All right, that's it. Smallmouth should be spawning in Vermont. I might go bass fishing, but I don't know. I haven't been fishing in years, so I have no tackle or anything. I've got barely any tackle for fishing, but I should go. Let's see, is that it? Yep, that's it. I don't see any more questions. A lot of new guys. All right, we'll see you next time. The next live stream is tomorrow night. I'm going to be working on some natural tools. Hopefully I'll get a new batch of composite tools set up and ready. What's a composite tool? I'll show you. This is a version of a composite tool for natural tool knapping. That's a piece of antler attached to a adze handle. That's just one version of a composite tool for natural tool knapping. You could put either a piece of antler for knapping or a stone in there for chopping wood or scraping hides. The adze handle is very versatile. Okay? All right. And that's just rubber band holding it in. Okay? Don't worry about it. That's what I mean by composite tool. What's the best sandwich? You can't think of any other questions? You gotta ask, what's the best sandwich? Okay. Hopefully you found the stone I sent for the abrader. Jesse liked his. Yeah, I've just got to look for it, Alan. I've got it somewhere. I keep these things in batches, so it's with your other stuff. Yeah, hopefully I can find it before the live stream. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Good to see everybody. Bye-bye.